Most people think they know Colorado mountains, ski towns, national parks. But beyond the trailheads and resorts lies another version of this land. A version that doesn't fit on brochures. A version that waits in shadowed canyons and forgotten plateaus. This is a Colorado of ghost roads, ancient volcanoes, and canyons deeper than sound. A land that has been cut, burned, flooded, and uplifted, and still keeps its secrets. You haven't seen Colorado, not yet. Colorado is not just the spine of the Rockies. It's a collision zone, where mountains rise from ancient seas, where deserts remember rivers long vanished, and where entire civilizations once lived in cliffs and silence. In this journey, we'll leave the highways and explore the hidden flanks of the San Juans, the abandoned rails of forgotten gold towns, the volcanic scars of the San Luis Valley, and the desert temples of the Colorado Plateau. This isn't about altitude. It's about depth of time, of place, of story. This is the Colorado few speak of, and once you've seen it, you'll never see the state the same way again. Deep in the La Garita wilderness, hidden in the San Luis Valley, lies a landscape so strange it looks sculpted by hand, but it was formed by fire. This is Wheeler Geologic Area, Colorado's first national monument, and one of its least visited. Created by one of the largest known volcanic eruptions on Earth, the landscape is carved from ash and tuff, hoodoos, spires, and stone cathedrals, all crumbling into gray silence. It's reachable only by a 14-mile hike or rugged 4x4 trail. There are no crowds, no roads, and no signs of the modern world. Once a tourist destination in the early 1900s, Wheeler was forgotten when the rails shifted elsewhere. What remains is a ghost monument, shaped by wind, ice, and deep geologic time. It's not marked on most maps, but it's a monument still, to silence, ash, and memory. At the base of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, where alpine snow meets desert heat, lies one of the most surreal sights in North America. The Great Sand Dunes, the tallest in the continent, rising over 750 feet into the sky. Formed by an ancient lakebed and centuries of crosswinds, the dunes are still growing and shifting, carved daily by wind, held only temporarily in shape. The surrounding landscape adds to the illusion. Snow-capped peaks, cottonwood groves, and the seasonal flow of Medano Creek, which pulses like a mirage across the sand. For the indigenous Ute people, this land was sacred long before it became a national park. Some still say the dunes sing in high winds, a whisper from the past trapped in the sand. This isn't just a desert in the mountains. It's motion in place and silence made physical. At the edge of the San Luis Valley, just a short climb from desert scrub and dust, lies Zapata Falls, a cascade hidden inside a narrow rock crevice, tucked behind volcanic walls and often missed entirely. To reach the falls, visitors must wade through an ice-cold stream, entering a slot-like canyon that darkens and narrows as you go. And then, without warning, you hear it, echoing, distant, rising. The water tumbles 30 feet down, glowing in soft light filtered through rock. The falls are surrounded by lava cliffs, and from above, the view stretches across the entire valley to the dunes. But inside the grotto, the world compresses. All you hear is water. All you see is stone. Zapata Falls isn't big, but it's hidden, elemental, and alive, a secret held in volcanic breath. Cut by the Gunnison River over 2 million years, Black Canyon is a chasm so narrow and steep, sunlight only reaches its depths for a few minutes a day, hence its name. The cliffs are nearly 2,700 feet tall, rising like blades on either side of a roaring river. The rock itself, Precambrian gneiss and schist, is among the oldest on Earth, darkened by time and polished by water. In places, the canyon walls are so tight, they seem to fold inward. Few visitors hike below the rim. Fewer still reach the river. The descents are unmarked, dangerous, and unforgettable. And standing at the edge, whether at Painted Wall, Overlook, or Gunnison Point, you feel the pull of something ancient, silent, and almost incomprehensible. This isn't the Grand Canyon. It's not wide. It doesn't smile. It stares. Black Canyon is where Colorado turns vertical, and the earth shows its scars without apology. Along the shores of Blue Mesa Reservoir, in the heart of Curecanti National Recreation Area, rises a solitary volcanic spire known as the Curecanti Needle. It's one of Colorado's most distinctive rock formations, but only visible by boat or a long hike through canyon terrain. This towering column of basalt pierces the air like a monument forgotten by time, a volcanic remnant left behind when the surrounding landscape eroded away. At sunset, its reflection in the water creates a perfect symmetry of stone and silence. In the 1800s, it served as a landmark for the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad, whose tracks once clung to the cliffs nearby. Today, the train is gone, and the lake has drowned the valley floor, but the needle still stands, a sentinel over stillness. Curecanti Needle isn't famous. It's not easy to reach, but it's one of those places where Colorado's volcanic past rises straight from its mirrored present. High above Silverton, at over 11,000 feet, sits the ghost town of Animas Forks, a windswept collection of cabins and mining ruins once called the highest city in the West. Founded in the 1870s during Colorado's silver boom, the town boasted hotels, saloons, a newspaper, and winter snow so deep residents sometimes tunneled between buildings. But by the early 20th century, the silver had dried up, and the mountains began their quiet reclamation. Today, Animas Forks lies surrounded by peaks, glaciers, and scree slopes, accessible only by rough 4x4 roads that climb through alpine tundra. The wooden structures remain remarkably intact, weathered but proud, their windows facing ridgelines instead of roads. There's no electricity, no crowds, just wind through the boards, marmots in the grass, and the whisper of a life abandoned to altitude. Animas Forks isn't a ruin. It's a high-altitude memory frozen in wood and stone. Tucked deep in the San Juan backcountry near Silverton, Lake Basin is a high-altitude amphitheater of granite walls, wildflower meadows, and one of the most stunning lakes in North America. A turquoise pool so vivid it looks unreal. Resting at nearly 12,300 feet, Ice Lake gets its color from glacial silt suspended in the water, refracting sunlight into brilliant blue. Surrounding it are jagged 13,000-foot peaks, cascading waterfalls, and, in summer, meadows exploding with Indian paintbrush, columbine, and lupin. Getting here requires effort, a steep, switchback-laced trail that climbs over 3,000 feet. But every step lifts you further from the world below. By the time you arrive, you're not just above the trees, you're above the noise. Ice Lake isn't a hidden gem, it's an earned one, a place where color, water, and silence combine in high-altitude awe, and once seen, never forgotten. Perched atop a sandstone ridge between Durango and Pagosa Springs, Chimney Rock is more than just a pair of towering pillars. It's an ancient observatory, a celestial site, and a sacred space carved into the edge of the sky. Built by the ancestral Puebloans over 1,000 years ago, Chimney Rock's ceremonial structures were aligned with the lunar standstill, a rare celestial event where the moon rises between the two stone towers only once every 18.6 years. Archaeologists have uncovered plazas, kivas, and pit houses, revealing a high-altitude outpost used for ritual, astronomy, and seasonal migration. For the modern-day Pueblo tribes, it remains a spiritual site, a place where stone and sky still speak the same language. Climbing to the summit trail today, you're surrounded by silence, wind, and a 360-degree view of Colorado's ancient past. At Chimney Rock, time isn't measured by clocks, but by shadow, moonrise, and memory etched in stone. Spread across more than 170,000 acres in Colorado's southwest corner lies Canyons of the Ancients National Monument, home to the highest known density of archaeological sites in North America. Over 6,000 recorded ruins, villages, towers, kivas, reservoirs, dot this sagebrush desert. Most are unmarked, many are hidden, and all of them were built by the ancestral Puebloans, who farmed, traded, and worshipped here for centuries before vanishing into history. Unlike better-known sites like Mesa Verde, the ruins here are unexcavated, scattered across canyons, mesas, and ridgelines. Hike long enough through the juniper and stone, and you'll stumble upon a sandstone wall, a doorway to nowhere, or a pot shard still warm from the sun. Canyons of the Ancients isn't a park with fences. It's a landscape of memory, still held sacred by the Pueblo peoples of today. In this desert, the ruins don't demand attention. They wait for your silence. Tucked inside the McInnes Canyons National Conservation Area, just west of Grand Junction, lies Rattlesnake Canyon, home to over 35 natural arches, second only to Utah's Arches National Park. But unlike arches, there are no crowds here, just silence and stone. These arches rise from crimson sandstone walls and overhangs like windows cut into geologic time. Some span over 100 feet. Others are delicate, narrow, wind-carved. The most famous, Cedar Tree Arch, frames the desert horizon like a painting hung in red rock. Getting here is difficult via a long 4x4 road or a strenuous 14-mile loop through rugged backcountry. That effort is why the canyon stays quiet, and why it feels like a secret held between cliffs. Rattlesnake Canyon isn't fenced, paved, or polished. It's wild, it's weathered, and it proves that Colorado's desert is just as wondrous as its peaks. Just off Interstate 70, near the town of Gypsum, lies a feature almost everyone drives past, but almost no one notices. Dotsero Crater, Colorado's youngest volcano, and one of the few that could erupt again. Formed just 4,200 years ago, this 2,300-foot wide Mar crater was created by a violent interaction between magma and groundwater, sending ash across the region. Today, it appears as a sage-covered bowl in the landscape, but inside are lava flows, scoria, and a crater trail leading straight into the Earth's quiet core. Despite its size and youth, Dotsero is almost completely unmarked. No visitor center, no fanfare, just a dirt road, a short hike, and a surreal realization. Colorado isn't finished. The Ute people once believed this land carried fire beneath its skin. Geologists still agree. Dotsero is not dramatic, but it's real. And in the story of Colorado's geologic past, it's the comma, not the period. Tucked high above Glenwood Canyon, Hanging Lake is a turquoise pool perched on the edge of a cliff, fed by thin ribbons of waterfall and ringed by moss-covered travertine walls. It's one of the most surreal sights in Colorado, a natural balcony of water and air. Formed by a rare travertine dam process, where dissolved limestone builds up rather than erodes, Hanging Lake captures runoff from the high cliffs above, forming a perfectly still, vividly colored lake that overflows in 3 gentle waterfalls: Bridal Veil, Spouting Rock, and Weeping Rock. The area is sacred to the Ute people and has been fiercely protected for good reason. Due to heavy foot traffic, the trail is now permit-based, and storms in 2021 caused major damage, temporarily closing the area and reminding us of its fragile beauty. Hanging Lake is not remote, but it feels like it. It's a place where water floats, time slows, and everything living seems to be held by a breath. Unlike Colorado's jagged, show-stopping ranges, the flat tops don't rise in sharp spires, they rise flat. Carved by ancient lava flows and glacial ice, this high alpine plateau stretches across 230,000 acres, with cliffs that drop like walls and meadows that run like sea. The Ute called this region sacred. Early American wilderness advocates found their inspiration here. And today, Flat Tops Wilderness remains a place of stillness, vastness, and depth without drama. Over 100 lakes dot the landscape. Trails lead through spruce forest, across tundra, and along volcanic escarpments that feel like walking the edge of an ancient continent. The air is quiet, the crowds are few, and the horizon stretches for miles without a single summit in sight. In a state obsessed with peaks, the flat tops are a reminder that some of the most powerful places aren't sharp, they're steady. They don't reach, they endure. Hidden in the rolling prairie of El Paso County, far from the Rockies, lies Paint Mines, a surreal badlands of hoodoos, spires, and sculpted gullies, all banded in soft pastels of yellow, purple, white, and rose. These colors come from oxidized iron in the clay and have been used by humans for over 9,000 years. Indigenous peoples once gathered pigments here to paint pottery, skin, and spirit. Even today, the colors seem to shift with the light, glowing in morning fog and burning under the afternoon sun. Despite its name, Paint Mines isn't flashy. It's small, quiet, and fragile. But walking the trail, you'll feel like you've stepped into a cross-section of Earth's buried imagination, soft layers revealed by wind and time. This is a place where prairie meets palette, and where silence holds more color than sound ever could. Deep in southeastern Colorado, carved into the high plains by the Purdory River, lies Picketwire Canyonlands, a stark, sun-baked wilderness where you can walk beside the largest dinosaur trackway in North America. Here, more than 1,300 footprints cross a dry riverbed, brontosaurs, allosaurs, and others, frozen in mid-step for over 150 million years. Some are small, others span over 3 feet. Together, they tell a story of movement, migration, and vanished worlds. Reaching the tracks takes effort. A 10-mile round-trip hike through juniper scrub, rattlesnake country, and exposed rock. But every step brings you closer to something vast and quiet. Fossilized wood, petroglyphs, ruins of 19th century settlements. And and then stone tracks side by side, leading nowhere but deeper into time. Picketwire isn't just about dinosaurs. It's about what stays after everything else leaves. A story so old, it forgot to be forgotten. Colorado is known for its peaks, for trailheads packed by sunrise and highways that climb into cloud. But the truest parts of the state aren't always above tree line. They're below notice. They're in the canyons that never made the brochures, in ghost towns reclaimed by snow, in dunes that shift and sing, and in lakes so blue they seem imagined. They're in the places with no road signs, no cell service, and no certainty, only presence. This is the Colorado that doesn't try to impress. It waits for those willing to walk a little farther, look a little deeper, listen a little longer. If this journey showed you a version of Colorado you've never seen, subscribe to Era Trails and follow us into the hidden places across the world. And share this with someone who still thinks Colorado ends at the ski slopes, because in truth, it starts where the trail disappears.